What is going on out there? JT with you here in the studio, Studio 10-4 Live. Back at you again for another weekly update here. And we got a lot to talk about, man. There's been a lot going on. It's been a busy week, actually, so far. Here we are just kind of right in the middle of Hump Day. But it's been busy. Monday, Veterans Day, every year, the 11th of November. One of those holidays that a lot of places you can count on that holiday being celebrated, no matter if it's on a Saturday, Sunday, whatever, it doesn't matter. My old hometown, Folsom, had their usual parade, and it was pretty cool to see some shots of the Folsom Veterans Day parade. I'm sure there was plenty of others everywhere, but we salute our veterans. I'm wearing my Veterans San Francisco Giants hat. This was their service day hat. They put it out this year. I think it was the first time, so I got one. But so far so good, man. Things are catching up after the showdown in Bakersfield, the 10-4 Trucker Rodeo and show that we had down there. We've been on and off the phone and emails and pictures and messaging and people talking all about it everywhere, and lots of great traffic on social media. So cool, you guys are sharing all your photos and videos. I got some that we're gonna share with you today. I got Dan in the green room with Shan today, so the Dan and Shan show will be jumping in on the Studio 10-4 Live show, and also have Trooper Dial, Monty Dial, retired trooper that has been a part of 10-4 magazine and the old blue team, and used to hang out with us at various shows throughout the country back in the day when such shows as Dallas were on the map, and others that as well were there too. Well, look, we got to take a look here in the studio who we got watching with us today. Mr. Chris Darts, what's going on? Known that guy since kindergarten. Can you fricking believe that? There's somebody as old as me in the studio. Mr. Tim Siebes in the studio. Dougie, what's going on, buddy? Mr. Jeff Patello. Jeff's in the show today. Good to have you, Jeff, and thanks for the help there, sponsoring the buckles, and sure Dan will reach out to you and say thanks today about all that. But good to have you here with us again. Been thinking, there's a lot of cool stuff I've been writing down, ideas, things that I want to kind of incorporate into the show. Some stuff that would be of interest to you guys. It would be, it could be something just as simple as dispatcher of the month. And I have a dispatcher of the month already picked out. And this one actually just came to me today. And I mean, our love-hate relationship with dispatchers is just that. It is a love-hate relationship. You got to make friends with your dispatcher. And if you don't, well, you're probably not going to get the good loads, right? So if you have a bad relationship with your dispatcher, that's something you need to work on and fix, because you don't want to be that guy. Our dispatcher of the month, you guys are going to love this. I love it. Our dispatcher of the month is Donald Trump. And let me tell you, man, he is doing some badassery of dispatching. And if you're not paying attention, you need to look and see what's going on, because it's happening, and it's happening in big, fast ways. I am just so impressed. The status quo is no more. And what I like about it, and this is what I like about it. It could have been anybody else. If they followed this protocol, I'd be like, that'd be the dispatcher of the month. He's putting people into jobs that are smart people that have some background, that give them the logistical, the business, the knowledge that they should have, that could probably carry them through a lot of different jobs. But I'm going to tell you, number one, that just it floored me yesterday. And you guys tell me what you think. Pete Hagstaff, Secretary of State. And some of you are going, why do I know that name? Some of you are going, what? And that's kind of what I did. And others are like, yeah, that's awesome. Well, this is a guy that has been in the last, however many years, on TV, on the news. He's been a news reporter, an affiliate. You know, this guy has been in the background doing what he does, and now is up for being the Secretary of Defense. You know, what I like about that is that they're taking people that are not in the status quo and putting them into jobs to do the job and apply common sense and use the good, smart people around them to make the best possible decisions. Business 101. It just doesn't get any smarter or simpler than that. And I see some of you are in agreement already. And yeah, you can't go wrong. Driver, what's going on? Polly, Eddie, Miss Jean in the house. Hi, Jean. Good to have everybody in here. So dispatcher of the month, Donald Trump. More to come. And I mean, fast. It's happening fast. Today, there was the handoff of the torch, supposedly. Would have loved to have been in that room for that conversation. But anyway, that took place. First Lady Melania Trump declined the offer of First Lady Dr. Biden. She said, yeah, thanks, but no. A lot of other good stuff that I've thought about, though. I'm looking into doing some fleet stuff. I want to talk to some fleet owners. I want to feature some fleet guys. I've got people around here just in my backyard that I can drive down to and hook up with and bring them into the show, probably live from their location even. And I'm looking forward to doing some stuff like that. Of course, we have the live streams that we're going to be doing in 2025. Truck shows that 10-4 magazine, of course, will be bringing you, and we're going to be talking about that today as well. Many good things that are going to be happening, and I'm looking forward to it. Hey, one more thing on the entertainment, like the personal side. Did anybody watch Yellowstone Sunday night? And are you as pissed off about it as I am? Because if you're into that show and you watched it, oh, no spoilers. I see Shan. She's giving me the shh. Okay, so without giving it up, just don't anybody say why. Just tell me, yes or no on that opener. Okay. All right. Listen, everybody, I want to bring Dan and Shannon because we're going to get them in and out of here. And we'll be bringing Trooper Dial in at the bottom of the hour. If you guys are listening and have any questions you want to ask Trooper Dial, listen, this guy is a wealth of knowledge. He's been around this stuff forever, and he is still in the know. I mean, seriously, ask him. And here's the thing. He's not really that guy that goes, I'll get back to you. He knows the answer now. So anyway, let's go and let's get Dan and Shannon in here. You guys get your questions ready for Trooper Dial. We'll bring him in at the bottom of the hour. Hi, guys. What's going on?
Hello. I want to say good afternoon, but it kind of looks like evening here. It's just about dark.
Well, it's 5 o'clock, and now are you guys getting the rain and all that going on? Is fall hit?
We got rain 2 days ago.
Yeah, we got a pretty good downpour for about an hour. It rained about a quarter inch.
No, it was nice.
Yeah. Well, and up here, the Pacific Northwest, winter hasn't hit, but fall has. And our fall, it's kind of a hard hitting, like California normally has for a winter. Dark, rainy, cooler weather. When winter hits up here, when we actually move out of fall into winter, we'll be in the mid to high 20s at night, 30s, and then chances of snow. We'll get some snow on the ground. We're just getting the dark, rainy, wet kind of weather right now. It's fall. It's fall.
They had some snow up in the park just up the road, I believe.
Yeah. Well, when I came back home from Bakersfield, Shasta and all the mountaintops were all dusted. So, the higher elevations, they're getting it. So it's happening. So good to see both of you guys wearing your 10-4 Trucker Rodeo shirts, both versions of the Trucker Rodeo family shirts there. I see well represented. And Shan's got her cowboy hat on. Look at that. Telling you. Pete, what's going on? Pete Zamora in the house. Pete, happy birthday, buddy. How old again? Was it 50 or 60? I can't remember. 60.
60.
60, man. We need to have like a 10-4 offsite getaway at Pete's bar. Have you seen pictures of his bar?
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Plenty of tequila.
I'm thinking if we go there, we probably should just camp out for like, I don't know, 2-3 days, right? What do you think? Pete, you didn't share if you had a barbecue on site or not, but if you've got a barbecue on site, we're yours, baby, all the way.
Hey, in regard to that weather, I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the pictures of that crazy dust storm that went through like Tulare and Riverdale, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure a few folks here online could talk about what we saw pictures of it. And we figured it's coming here, and we got ready for it. We didn't get any of the wind or the dust, but certainly got the rain.
On the way home, once I hit Sacramento, between Sacramento and Grants Pass, the wind, the worst was in the valley, the open flats between Sacramento and Redding. But I was, death grip on the wheel, hanging on, holding the car steady, trying to keep it in the lane. We didn't have the dust storm stuff yet, but whatever that wind was, I'm sure that's part of what they saw down there, and all those dust storms that were going on. That's what got stirred up from that. Man, it was crazy. I've never been, I don't think, in that long of a stretch driving. I mean, we're talking 3 hours of steady, heavy duty wind like that. It was crazy. JC, I was thinking of you today, buddy. We need to get JC on the show and talk some mats here pretty soon, because it's actually going to happen here pretty quick. And there's the whole new, I know, but there's a whole new layout. There's no more West Wing. Bye-bye, gone. So they moved everybody.
I think that's going to be good.
It's going to be a good move.
Yeah.
No, totally in agreement. Everything under one roof, and the JC right around the corner.
Nope.
One roof, truck show right out front. I mean, we've kind of just taken everything and put everything all together, and I like that. So good move, you guys. We'll get JC on the show here, and definitely. Pete says, how many? 5 empty tequila bottles. Oh man, you guys did some damage, brother.
That's a headache. That's what I see.
My buddy Chris asks, is there any Sturgis type rallies, but only for truckers? Yeah, there actually is. I mean, some truck shows have convoys through their towns and around their towns, and everybody, gets together from wherever they're parked at the show and shine. And then there's a designated route that everybody takes, and they make it happen. Now, on a larger scale, there have been some politically driven type convoys that have, tracked some big miles and for a cause. And I'm not saying that some of these, in fact, 2025, you're going to see a great one, and that's going to be GBATs. It's a GBATs year. So the opportunity for GBATs to have their, biannual charity convoy is going to be happening again. So look forward to seeing that. Dennis says St. Ignatius, Michigan, right? And Dennis, you'll have to share with us about that one, what that's like, because I don't know, but I'd like to hear about, what they need to do here, StreamYard, is make and I'm going to send this to them. They've probably heard it, but if somebody comments in there, I should be able to click on them and automatically see if I can bring them in, send them an invite to the show, and then bring them in live. I think that would be a pretty cool effect to have. Well, listen, you guys, let's talk what you guys came on to talk about. I know you want to say thanks to everybody. We're going to share some videos. I've got Colton Pounds queued up. I've got Nicholas Hale queued up, videos and photos. But let's start off with you guys. What's happening? What are we going to talk about?
Well, we just, it was a huge event, and seriously, it's been 10 days, and I feel like we're still coming down off of all that.
Yes.
Definitely.
And we had a really, really hectic 6 or 8 weeks before the show. I mean, just with normal stuff, I made a list. We went to 5 truck shows in 3 states in the 6 weeks prior to our show, and did multiple photo shoots and produced 2 editions So all that in front of our event, which was life engulfing. Is that a good term? Life engulfing.
I make it up as you go, man. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Every
Is that
every
consuming?
moment,
Every minute.
driving in the
Just
car,
think about it.
sitting
Yeah.
on a plane,
Yeah.
laying in bed trying to sleep. Ha ha.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, just so much was devoted to thinking about all of the details and all of the moving parts to this event. And just being a first ever with so many first ever location, first ever
doing it
for any of these kinds of things, and so many things.
This was totally taking a dart, throwing it in a dark at a board to see if it hits. And you know what? It hit. And I mean, it was a bullseye.
Well, I'll tell you what, we could not have done it without tons of people helping us. And I'd like to mention some of those people today here.
Absolutely.
So many vendors and sponsors and volunteers and helpers and just, you know, advisors and people that we leaned on to help us with different events.
Fellow consummates, consumers, engulfers.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I would say this woman here.
Oh.
Yeah, this one right here.
Cheers. Here's to you, Callie Squeeze.
Yes. All right. She's definitely my partner in crime in a lot of this stuff, and this was definitely a crime. So
felt like it at times.
it stole a lot of time in your life. It just keeps getting more to that. Yeah.
Well, you know what though? The end result, I mean, I think I'm getting over all the harshness of the reality of what we did before, and it's feeling better. And it's feeling like it was worth it. And I think I'm excited to move. I'm already excited thinking about the next one and things we can do and ways we can change things or whatever. And it's exciting for me. I mean, it's just all new stuff and such great positive response from everybody. I mean, calls and texts just for people to call. And, you know, I mean, there's, you know, Freddie Ramsey. He's one of them. Just called me. I don't talk to Freddie Ramsey on the phone very often. And he called me just to tell me what a great time he had and how much he enjoyed the show. And that has happened a lot lately.
And that has made it worth it. Definitely.
That certainly helped take the edge off of things to, okay, maybe this wasn't for nothing. And so that's been good, but certainly couldn't have did it alone. We had so many people helping us and so many different things. And let me go over a few of those.
First, I want to get in here and say howdy to a few people that jumped in and bye to some that are taking off. Chris, thanks for jumping in, and look forward to having you on the show anytime there, buddy. Paulie, good to have you on the show. And that's your mom, right? Isn't it? Okay. All right. Here we go. Family. It's a family affair. Yeah. Eddie, what's going on? Troy, what's happening, buddy? Good to have Troy Charbonneau on the show today too. So let's get to it, man. There's a bunch of people to say thanks to and tell us why. And, you know, I mean, who they are. These are not just people that, and listen, you know what? In business, we have there is the real, you know, got to pay for the show. So thank God that we have people that are in partnerships with us that help us to do that. But I'll tell you what, some of these guys, they're way beyond the money thing, man, way beyond. So and I don't want to steal your thunder, Dan. So go for it, man. Share that.
So a quick rundown without getting into names. We had 150 trucks, which was a pretty respectable number for a first show. And I'll tell you that looking down from the grandstands at that parking lot, especially during the light show, it looked more like 200. I don't know. It was amazing. It was the best 150 I've ever seen. We had 22 vendors. We had 10 different competitions and winners. We had 5 Competitors' Choice Awards for the trucks just out in the lot that didn't compete in any competitions. Raffle prizes for early registrants. 13 sponsors, and I counted roughly 32 helpers and volunteers. So, I mean, certainly, you know, we got a lot of help from a lot of people, companies, organizations. So, you know, that was awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
To name a few of the bigger event sponsors, and I got a list here, so pardon me if I sort of read a little.
All right.
We got Double E Trucking, Mike Lowry Trucking, Central Valley Transport. We'll talk more about them in a bit. Kane Trucking, George Van Dyke Trucking, KT Charbonneau. which you see Troy Charbonneau. Thank you, Troy. He's right there. Magini and Son Trucking, Rogue Truck Body, 10 West Towing, Daniel's Tire Service did us a huge service.
Those guys were teamers, man. That was a heck of a deal of them to bring those trucks and let those people jump in there and go for
100%. They were awesome. We also had Botello Custom Trucks. Thank you, Jeff. I believe he's still in the room.
Yep.
Sponsored some things. We had Time to Shine sponsor our Mechanical Bull. We had Chris Trucking sponsor some things. We had 14 different companies that upgraded their rodeo experience by renting 12 luxury suites for their people. So that was kind of cool,
Yeah.
It looked and sounded. Obviously, John, you and I were down on the ground with the working people, but they were having a good time up there. It seemed
I
like
got to be in there for about an hour.
There you go.
I never got to go. Did you?
Awesome.
I never went in.
Did you see the suite, John?
I never went. I never made it up there.
No,
He made me go.
I did.
Well,
But
we wanted you to go.
Everybody up there hanging out outside and inside, and you'd call them out and they'd cheer, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of changed the dynamic. I would have liked to have seen the stands absolutely full of people, but give us some time on that one.
Yeah,
but
that's coming.
Yeah.
And a couple people that really helped us run these events and provided. I'd really like to thank Gary and his son. I believe it's John at B&G Hay. They brought 2 loads of big bales. Well, Ryan Van Dyke brought one in for him, and a load of small bales for all the hay competitions. And they brought a squeeze to move things around for us. Yep. You're Gerald Todd here. He's a JT. I guess he got to see the suites.
Well, I was gonna. I still don't equate Gerald to JT, but JT, would you fix that, please?
There's a reason. I've heard the story. There's a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
But they also brought the chalk machine that we chalked our lines in the parking lot. They were just I called Gary and his son a lot in regards to how we should run some of the competitions, and they were like super helpful. So
And this was the first time we've met him.
I've never even met the man.
Yeah.
When I went to pick up the chalk,
it was pretty awesome.
it was the first time I ever met him, and they were a great, really nice family, and they were just open to help wherever they could, and it was awesome.
It was.
We mentioned Daniel's Tire Service in Bakersfield. That was Lupe and his team, brought out service trucks and helped us with the tire changing. Gary brought us the tires that we changed.
I'm sure he did a lot more.
I think
he did some parking also.
Yeah, I think he did help with some parking. Everyone at CVT, especially Colton, for I constantly was picking their brains for advice. They brought the flatbed trailer for the tires to be changed. If we would have done the tarping and strapping competition, he was going to provide all the stuff for that. We ended up not doing that. It just got logistically difficult.
I was feeling sorry for Colton for a while.
Yeah, I was.
I'm like, you're going to call him again?
Yeah, I was like, I was leaning on him pretty hard, and
so helpful.
Absolutely. And just asking questions, how things should go, and, writing things up and sending them to people to approve them, to go over them, make sure I was getting the terminology right.
There's to Colton. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Mark, Keith, all of you.
Yes.
But
the whole family.
Let me get through a few more here. Obviously, Marty Miles for, all he did to promote the cow loading competition. And in reality, Jake Bast and Marty Miles were the two that put the brains together for that cow loading contest. Now, we tweaked it. This one was responsible for the blow-up cows, or for the cows. The blow-up cows I was responsible for.
No.
But that was.
Shannon, I don't know how you ever came up with that, but let me tell you, it worked out.
That was a lot. She came up with the idea for stuffed cows, and we were looking on it, trying to find stuffed cows, and we couldn't find any that stood up or that were big enough or that weren't super expensive. And I happened to see these blow-up ones. I'm like, well, what are those? And she said, well, those are blow-up ones. I said, well, let's look at those. How big are those? And there you go.
Yeah.
But Jake and Marty, they were a big, I ran a lot of things by Jake as well. He really wanted to come to the show, but he's got a once a year gig where he takes the Christmas tree to Kansas City or something for their town square. And so he had to do that. He was really disappointed. He helped us out in a lot of ways. And I know he wished he was there. He would have had a good time. And for that cow loading contest, Ronnie DeVries and Melvin and Cody Medeiros of Medeiros Dairy provided the portable chutes that we used for the cattle loading. Chris brought them, or one of them. So we thank them for that. Again, just talking to people, Jeff Patello, Mike Magini, Gary at B&G, Roger Godelli, Colton Pounds, all those guys. I mean, I bugged them a lot for advice and tips and different things. And they were always there, to help me put things together. And so, yeah. And honestly, I guess if we're just going through everything, let me go through my whole litany list. I'm going to rattle off our volunteers and helpers to thank them. Some of them are actually watching here.
Done it without them.
Nope. I mean, we had a heck of a group, and a lot of these people came from, well, three or four of them came from out of state. We had Wisconsin in the house. We had Illinois in the house. We had Florida in the house. Thank you, JT. And Jen.
Arizona.
And Arizona, that's right. And so, I mean, we had, in addition to us, we had, and Nevada. Tim and April came from Nevada.
Oh, and Oregon.
And Oregon. Yeah. Well, geez.
Oh, yeah.
This was a multinational affair. So, let's just rattle them off. We got Tim, we got April, Stephanie, my sister Tammy, Angelina, JT, Jed, Bob 1, Bob 2, and Bob 3.
3 generations.
3 generations of Bobs.
Awesome.
All awesome guys. Pete, Anthony, Leo, Sean, his wife Kimberly, Greg, Ray, Eric, JT right here, John Testa.
That one.
That one. Yeah. Paige, our daughter, her friend Jordan, our son Parker, Paige's boyfriend Keenan, Roger and Annette. Of course, we couldn't do anything without them. They're like our consummate partners in truck shows.
And Roger was parking also for a bit.
I mean, all the silly things that we had to do, like buy new cones and cut the bases off of them, and fix generators and gas them up, and there was just so many things they helped us with. Bring all the stuff, obviously. Yeah. So they are invaluable help to us. We thank them immensely. Chris, we mentioned Chris. Okie Dan, that's a new guy I met. Okie Dan. He came out and helped us judge the cow loading. He was one of the guys. He brought all the cows out in that beautiful 379 he had with the big sleeper, the blue one. Marty Miles, of course, I mentioned. Leon Murillo even helped us a little bit. We had the flatbed trailer out there for the tire changing, and then I realized at the last minute we had nobody to move it into place. So thankfully the keys were in the truck because it was hooked to the Godfather. And so Leon got on the phone with Roger, probably learned a few tricks of the trade to drive the old thing, and moved it into place for us. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. And of course, Polly, Shannon's mom. And lastly, honestly, everybody at the track. I mean, Tim Huddleston is the owner of the track, and he wasn't there personally. He had an event in Irwindale and then was sick, but we couldn't have done it without him and his right-hand man, Willie Kozak, who ran the kind of event while, the two of us kind of ran the event. He and his team running the gate. And we couldn't do it without those guys. And it was great working with them. And over the years, our relationship has gotten really good with those folks, and it's exciting. So, I mean, I'm sure I left people out. I'm sure there's more.
There's all your kids, man. Don't forget all the kids.
We got the kids.
We mentioned them. They were there.
Yeah.
Yep. Paige and Parker, we mentioned them. Yep, they're there.
All right.
So if we forgot somebody that did something, thank you, JT and Sean, for cooking our breakfast a few days.
Oh my gosh.
That was awesome. Yep. Even JDT's driver, Zach. I got up early one morning to make coffee, and it was already made. And he made it for us. He got in there and made it, because I guess we gave him coffee the day before, so he knew where our stuff was. And so that was kind of cool, And I'm just kind of looking at my list. I think that, the Bob 2.
Bob and Bob. We said all the Bobs.
Yep, all the Bobs. They helped us on the cooking as well. And for lunch, too. They made us some lunch, too, one day.
Yeah.
But so it was awesome to have all those people, all that support, all those sponsors, I'm not going to mention all the vendors. I said we had like 22 vendors, and all of them had really positive things to say. And I was, you and I were on the track. We didn't get to spend a lot of time in that area because we were so busy. But and I want to thank JT John here, my partner in crime down on the microphone. I think we did really good together. We had a fun time, and honestly, it was fun down there.
I would have to say, I don't know how many people came up to me and thought he was hired help to be on the mic. They were like, "That's Dan talking?" I'm like, "Yes."
Caleb, you missed out.
You both did a really good job down there on the mics and keeping everyone entertained and informed.
We tried. It was a blast. Had a good time. It kind of started gaining its own vibe, rhythm, identity for me as to how to kind of put it in words to share with the audience. And it just kept getting better. And for me, it did. I mean, I enjoyed trying to gain some connection to it all. And Sunday, I got to tell you, Sunday, it really came together. And not that it wasn't on Saturday, but Sunday with that cow loading, I mean, and the hay squeeze, the hay bucking, all those events, there's such a, intertwining of the human factor. I mean, when the trucks are hauling and they're backing up and the things that were going on Saturday, you don't quite get that human factor as much as you do on those hay events and the cow events. I mean, those guys, listen, you look at the inflatable cows and you go, okay, Betsy, let's see what happens here. Those guys when they were done with their event,
oh my gosh,
they were done, right?
Oh, yeah. They were hustling.
I was like, I didn't realize how physical this was going to be.
Exactly.
I looked up into one of those trailers and all I saw was stairs. I mean, the chute and then another row and then another row. I mean, these guys were huffing it. Yeah,
it was no joke. And I would love for us at some point to have a way to help present that part of it to the audience. I don't know how we'll get there, but you know what? It was so awesome. And the hay squeeze contest, what was so fun to be a part of that for me was the competition. Those guys, somebody would take the lead and it looks like they're going to be ahead and win, or at least, close. And then, seconds would change the position of the competitors and back and forth. And I mean, in our events, and I don't know how many, because we don't have the times, but I do know there was a bunch of them that were 1 and 2 seconds separating the winners.
Yep.
Right.
And that was not just one time.
I've got the list of first place winners. Let's go over it real quick. It's not that long. It's 10 people. So we started out with the closed body backing. Winner of that was Ron DeVries Sr., who beat his kid.
Yep.
With a time of 21.15 seconds. This guy was hoofing. Backing open deck winner was Steve Hettinga. Same thing. He beat his kid. His time was 20.68 seconds. The doubles backing winner was, say it with me, Mike Magini. Yep. He even had a 10-second penalty because he did touch one cone, and his time was still 48.12 seconds.
Yeah.
Mitchell. Definitely.
The transfer dump winner went to Ron Versteeg Trucking's driver, Chris Sotelo, driving our cover truck.
We didn't mention Mitchell Stalin either, so that was nice of you.
I'm trying to be. It's all love here. It's all love. Chris's time doing the full transfer dump deal was 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, transfer dump competition was really great, and I'll tell you, next year I think there's going to be more guys showing up for that one because it was exciting again. It was
definitely.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of transfers in that area, so
they
should be there. A lot of cool ones too. Tire changing winner, that was a gentleman by the name of Jeremy Coote.
Yeah,
which he pulled the tire, changed it, put it back on, aired it up the whole 9 yards in 8 minutes and 5 seconds. And that was one of the ones that was really close, right?
Yeah.
So that one, somebody actually had a time in the upper 7 minutes and they ended up getting a 10-second penalty because they didn't air their tire up
Air
completely
pressure.
in the cage.
Yep.
And they ended up with like 8 minutes and 7 seconds. I think that was like a 2-second difference because of the penalty.
Yeah.
This guy won.
Yeah.
The last competition on Saturday was the loudest stereo, and most of those registered somewhere in the 104 to 113 range. But the winner, Elias Garcia, hit 130.2 decibels, and I felt it.
Yeah.
I was holding that decibel reader, and I felt it. That thing was loud.
Yeah, it was.
And then, obviously we had an amazing light show on Saturday night. I feel like 99% of the trucks were lit up, and it was a lot of fun. It was cool. And then on Sunday, we started out with the cow loading contest, and the winner of that was Ronnie DeVries Jr., and he did that in a minute and 53 seconds. Yeah. So that's pretty fast considering
that's moving, man. That's moving.
When Jake Bass sent me a video of a guy doing what they had to do, it was like a 3.5 minute video. Now, granted, the guy wasn't running, but 3.5 minutes, and he didn't have to load three blown up cows. So this, Ronnie did it in less than 2 minutes.
So let me tell you, Ronnie's a tall, slender young man, and built for what was going on there and that competition. I'll tell you, because it all came together for him, man. It really did,
Definitely.
Yeah.
And in that case, so the DeVries family took home 2 buckles.
Right.
One for the father, one for the son. So I'm sure they're pretty stoked about that.
Yep.
The hay loading and unloading with a squeeze. We had 12 squeezes competing, and I had a lot of people tell me that is a lot. A lot of people who've been to these competitions said they've been to one. 16 was the most they ever saw. So I was pretty stoked to have 12. Yeah. And I'm going to thank, I had that competition designed a little differently. And as we set it up, we realized it was not optimum. And so a fellow by the name of Johnny Cat, if y'all know him, he had some ideas. And I said, you know what? Sounds like you know what you're talking about. I got a crowd of people staring at us. Do it. Figure it out. Do it. Tell the crowd what we're doing. Tell the people what we're doing. And he did. And it went really smooth and really good. Winner of that was Sam Harder. He loaded and unloaded 3 blocks in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That's pretty fast too. These guys were all popping wheelies coming off the truck. And then the hay bucking, we had 4 teams. They all went at the same time. And that was just amazing to have 4 of that. I mean, that's so old school. It was so fun to watch. I mean, these guys were throwing.
I've never seen it.
They were throwing hay at each other. You guys getting hit in the head. One guy's sitting on the bale. He got pinned in. He couldn't get his feet out. It was hectic. It was fun and crazy. But the winner of that was a team of Tony Reitkirk and Tony Leonardo. Now, and they did it in 6 minutes and 11 seconds. They bucked on 48 bales, backed up about 50 or 60 yards, and hand unloaded them and stacked them. 6 minutes, 11 seconds. It was and they beat the second place by maybe 2 seconds. I was watching both these teams and I'm like, man, I hope we can get it. And these guys raised up their hands, and then I looked and they raised up their hands. I mean, it was that quick. And so it came down to really came down to the wire. And then we finished out that day, of course, with a big burnout by Mark Pounds at Central Valley in his Powerliner Freightliner. We had another guy set up to compete with him, and his truck took a dump shortly before. So
right there on the track,
Mark went out there and did a big burnout, exhibition burnout, and but it was fun and it was cool, and so that kind of went through all that, and we also gave away 5 Competitors' Choice trophies for the trucks out in the parking lot. Real quick, I'm going to run by those 2. Everybody's asking. Best bobtail went to Troy Charbonneau, who is here in the stream, unless he left us. Yep. With his red Pete 359, he got best bobtail. Best combo went to Stan Silva and his turquoise Pete 389X. Best interior went to Ryan Magini. Oh, wait. Ryan Upton. Sorry. but it was for the Magini number 13 2 axle. He just represented it that day.
Yes.
I actually announced him as Ryan Magini from the microphone, so
Yeah, well,
he corrected me.
it's a Ryan, it's a Magini, it's whichever you want to go.
He answers to either, right, Ryan? Right, Ryan? Anyway, he got best interior. Not a surprise. 13's got an amazing interior. Best lights went to Ronnie DeVries in one of their yellow and purple Peterbilt cattle haulers. Truck number 113. I don't know. They all kind of look the same. I'm not sure which one it was, but
They brought some beautiful trucks. Yeah,
Huh?
they brought some beautiful trucks. They really did.
And the final one was best engine, which also went to Stan Silva with his turquoise 389X. So, and lastly, we had raffle prizes for people who entered early, who pre-registered, which
they registered
early
online.
They registered online before the show.
Yeah.
So, I can't tell you who won them, but I can say that somebody won a pair of stainless steel wiper arms from GGE Products. Thank you, Garrett. 2 different people won sets of billet mirror lights from Brent's Custom Trucks. One had tanker lights, one had watermelon lights. Really nice lights, mirror. There was a visor of their choice from RLK Services in Georgia. So thank you, RLK, for doing that. In fact, Silva got that. I know that. And we had a $100 gift certificate from 4 State Trucks that somebody won. So thank you for that. So you guys that registered early, you got a chance to win some cool stuff. And lastly, I want to thank Carl Karstens at Rockwood for building all of our trophies for the 5 competitors' choice. He did an amazing job. They're beautiful. And not that we have to thank them, but Molly's Custom Silver out of Arlington, Texas did an amazing job making those belt buckles. And we will definitely be ordering from them again next year in a slightly different style to keep things fresh, because they've got 200 styles to choose from, but they just knocked it out of the park. These buckles were the bee's knees. So
those buckles are going to be, they're going to have their own identity throughout the valley from everybody that won those things. And I have a feeling people, if they're wearing that buckle and people see you wearing that buckle, they're going to be talking about it, man. I think it's a big deal. And I saw that when I talked to a couple of the guys at the show, and they told me how this was about the buckle. They were there to win that buckle. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And
like, and when they saw it in person, it blew them away. It was even better than they thought, which it was better than we thought it was going to be.
So way to go, Cowboys.
I would say, to close here, we should probably say hello to Brandon Chase, who you so nicely said hello to from the microphone as he sat in the stands.
Yes.
And I'm sure he was excited as all heck for that. So thank you for coming, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
It was great to see you in Ontario and hang out with you at the California Trucking Show a couple weeks before. And it's always good to see you, man.
Let's go to the big news, because I told everybody we did have something that we wanted to share with everybody. And what is it, Dan? You going to let them know what's happening?
Are we talking about dates for next year?
That's what we're talking about.
Okay. Yes, we will be returning to Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway on November 7th through the 9th, I believe, are the dates. It's we don't want to conflict with Halloween, and so we're going to push it back to Saskoche. And I think it's going to be awesome, and we're super excited and looking forward to it. They've already finished some paving at the track, which wasn't done when we were there. By this time next year, I think it's going to be a vastly improved venue. And we're also going to have the full attention of the owner, because he won't be dealing with closing the other speedway, which we'll talk about later.
Or wildfires
last week.
So there you have it, guys. 2025 is already marked on the calendar for 10-4 Trucker Rodeo and Show at the Kevin Harvick Kern County Raceway, November 7th and 8th. 6th, because Friday we're going to get the 6th. We get Friday to come in and park and do our thing probably again, just like this time. But there are the dates already, and we're not saying when yet. We'll announce this as we get probably further down the towards the end of the year. But yeah, there's going to be 99.9% certain there will be a Trucking for Kids and in 2025. We know it's not going to be in Irwindale because Irwindale's closing December 21st. So just keep that in your mind, and we'll get to you with the information on that. But it's looking good. So,
Yep.
all right. Jody jumped in.
I apologize to Trooper Dial. He's been probably sitting in the green room for an hour. I'm sorry.
He's awake,
Mark.
man. He's awake.
Blabbing so much.
He's awake. In fact, I'm going to bring Trooper Dial in right now and give him a chance to say hi to you guys and bye to you guys.
Hey, Monty, how you doing?
Hey, Dan. Glad to see your smiling face, man.
You as well, my friend. You as well.
Trooper Dial's looking kind of scruffy, man. He's getting a little bit kind of kicked back there in the retirement time these days, right?
This happens every year because when I go out and feed cattle, I don't want to get cold, and so I sit there and I get this going, and it gives me a little warmth every now and then.
Hey, I shaved today, and it was on me. I was like, okay, I'm getting the Santa Claus look here. I'm not going for that. So let's get this stuff off. Anyway, all right, you guys. Thanks for all the info, update, and sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who came and who watched, and all you people making comments and for being here today. I appreciate it. It was a great weekend, and we thank everybody for all the help. And we're truly excited about next year. And if you have ideas, for different competitions or tweaking the competitions, reach out to me, and eventually I'll be in the mood to deal with it.
Well, that's pretty honest. Right now, I think that we're all kind of feeling a little bit of let's turn it down a notch, just kind of enjoy some holidays that are coming up. We've got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas, and we've got some time to intermingle with, what we're going to look like in 2025 as well. And not only us, but our families and the rest of the country going through some adjustments right now. So let's all do it together and help each other up through it, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And I will add that we forgot to order 2 belt buckles for the hay bucking team because I'm a dummy. I only ordered 1. So the second one was ordered this morning. So we'll have that in about 50 days, and we'll get it to the team member that didn't get one. So I kind of joked about them sharing it, and they looked at me like, I'm like, okay.
Hey, and listen, guys, I don't want anybody leaving yet. Trooper Dial's going to stick with us here and run to the top of the hour. And
thank you, Monty. You guys have a great rest of the show. We'll talk to you all soon.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. All right, Dan and Shan, live from the Central Valley down there in California, and sharing all the updates and information with you. Trooper Dial hanging in there with us in the background. And Monty, just in case, because we're only going to go to 6, we can bring you back again. And if there's more to talk about and cover, let's do that. But in the meantime, first, let's introduce everybody. Trooper Dial is our kind of in-house go-to guy for the law. So ask the law and you will get an answer. And that is our guy right here, Trooper Dial, Monty Dial. Monty, tell us just quickly how many years in service you were and when you retired and what we're doing now.
I started my career with DPS in 1977 and worked 3 years in the driver license office, and then went over to be a diesel cop, and retired in 2008 with 33 years of service.
And this is in the state of Texas, correct?
Yes, this is with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
There you go. Perfect. You guys, I mean, you're not showing up to work every day, but I mean, you probably still got a pretty good core of friends that are in the department, involved. I mean, are they pretty excited with what's going on? I mean, since the election, are things looking, feeling, seeming better?
The biggest thing that I haven't talked to any of them yet, but the biggest news that I probably will be getting forthcoming is the winding down what they call the Lone Star operation. That's where they send the troopers down to the border, and they go down there and work 12-hour shifts for 14 days. And so they don't get to do much work in and around their assigned area. So with President Trump being reelected, I'm sure that the people he's already started appointing for the border czars are probably getting ready to probably take over full time.
Right.
Now that will relieve the troopers and allow them to go back to their home stations.
Right. Well, we do have an appointed border czar that actually that's his job.
Yep.
Period. And this guy's going to kick some butt doing what needs to be done. I have a question too. I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but I'm assuming you probably have talked to people that do, or you've seen for yourself. But when 4 years ago the current administration came into power, they just basically threw the off switch on any further construction of the wall that was going on. Yet all the material and everything was it was on the ground. It was staged and ready to go up. All they had to do was erect it. Did they just leave that stuff on the ground for the last 4 years, or do you know?
Governor Abbott went in when he found out that the last administration wasn't going to do anything. He went in and started using the material and constructing the wall himself.
Wow.
So the state of Texas footed the bill.
Wow.
For putting the wall up, and I'm sure the people of Texas are probably glad that now it's going to fall back over onto the government.
Yep.
And they're the ones that are going to pay to finish what is undone.
Well, the money was there all along, so it's not like it was, it never ran out of money. The contracts were done and signed. All they had to do was keep working, and they were not allowed to. So,
right.
I'm happy to. First of all, thanks Governor Abbott for taking that on, and you have a hell of a governor there in the state of Texas, and doing what he could. But all that material, I mean, I just thought to myself, being a former contractor, I would imagine, knowing the U.S. government too, they had to have paid for that stuff. So those guys had to have been paid
Yes.
to just walk away because
Yes.
they were under contract.
Right.
So there's some there's some fat to be trimmed, and it's going to be happening. So listen, we are running out of time, but you got any quick tips right now, kind of going into the fall season? What's happening out there that you want to share with folks today?
Well, I was one of the things I was looking up was the chain laws. Several states have mandatory chain laws.
Yes, they do. Got to carry them. Got to have iron.
I've got California. They've got certain places that they require.
Yep. Oregon does. Yep.
Colorado is the same way. And I think those are about the only two that I know of. I went through and looked at the list, and a lot of them say that they do not prohibit the use of power chains if it's being used safely and to prevent accidents. But I do know that Colorado, going over the mountain peaks, if they catch you without chains when they put the notices up, you're in bad shape.
Yep.
And I think the same thing applies in California, going through some of those passes. Same thing. If they have the signs up, you better obey them.
It's Oregon and Washington, same thing. When I was running the West Coast corridor, we had to have chains to come into Oregon and Washington, and I can say I never slung a link, meaning I never ever mounted a chain on a wheel, but I had them, and I had them in my truck just so that if I got inspected, they were there.
Right.
And you had to have possession on the truck suitable for truck and trailer in your possession to be legal, and I did. I think when I sold my truck, I gave them to the guy who bought the truck. There you go, man. Hope you never have to use them, but just in case, there you go.
Right.
There's some options out there that are pretty cool. One of them is the auto chain, and I don't know if you're familiar with those, Trooper Dial, but the auto chains, they're basically a mechanical unit under the front of the drivers that on the inside underneath. And when you actuate them with the switch inside the cab, sends air to a chamber, a service chamber, and it moves the chains that are spinning. They're flailing. They're flailing chains. It
Right.
throws them out in front of the drivers, and those are acceptable as a means of chain. So there's trucks that in my world, when my former life of working at Road Truck Body, we would get orders for some of the Pacific Northwest builds that we would put those on.
Right. Yeah.
Rich Burkett, what's Rich said? I carry the snow socks for my trucks when we are running into Oregon and Utah and Colorado. Snow socks, is that slang or is that a what is that, Rich? Tell me what those are, because I'm not familiar with them. If you mean it's just chains.
No, it's a sock that they put on that's supposed to help with the grip of the tire to the surface. But I'm looking at Colorado, and it doesn't say anything about those being allowed. It specifically talks about having chains.
Yeah. Well, and there's probably some stuff. Here's something you run up against this a lot. Technology has moved faster than the laws have, and it's like they have to catch up. Rich says the actual product name, and I'm putting that up on the screen, is material sleeve that fits over the tires like a sock. So yeah, you guys are saying the same thing there. Yeah. So and this, in some of our conversations, I noticed too that there is that the technology now versus when the laws were written. They haven't caught up. Now I have a feeling that's going to change here in the next 4 years. There's going to be a lot of catching up and updating of a lot of different things that have been let go and neglected. And frankly, whoever thought Pete Buttigieg would be a good Secretary of Transportation is beyond me, because he hasn't been. Sorry, he just hasn't been. Okay?
Yeah.
You're talking to me and Trooper Dial and other people in this industry. We know the guy didn't do a good job.
Right.
Just didn't happen. So sorry. I'm curious to see who's going to get put into that position at this point. Now that one has not been announced yet. So, so basically, I guess the message right now for this week, because we got 2 minutes left, is get ready for winter, guys. And all you listen, most of you guys that are watching right now, because you've been around. The guys that are going to watch on the playback, and if you've watched, you're watching for the first time, you're new to the industry, or you're just not sure. There's the answers, man. Check your states you're going to be running through, and mark them off in your book, so if you're going to go into Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Nevada. I'd check Arizona too, I guess, right?
Yeah, Arizona up on the north side, Interstate 40 runs up through some mountains up there.
Yeah.
In fact, we were out there many years ago and got snowed in.
Well, and around here, so where I'm at, I'm in Grants Pass, Southern Oregon. I'm on the north side of the Siskiyous. So this is the time of year where I have an all-wheel drive car, and I have a four-wheel drive truck. So I'm good. But I did have, I don't know where they are now, but I did have chains that I would carry for my truck just in case. But I know, with all-wheel drive, they usually don't bother us and they leave us alone.
Yeah.
But coming over the Siskiyous, I've come over the Siskiyous when we had to wait on the south side of the Siskiyous to go north, because they had it shut down so they could get it cleaned up and groomed so we could get over the mountain safely. Only happened to me once, but it happens.
And one thing I kind of joke around with everybody else was they bought chains for our patrol cars.
Oh, shit.
But the problem was I never did like putting them on.
Yeah, who does?
It wasn't the fact that I could not put them on. I could put them on.
Yeah.
But the problem is you put them on and it helps you get to going, but it don't help you stop.
No.
And so if it took me a while to get going, I knew it was going to take me a while to stop.
Well, I'll tell you, one of my favorite followers on Facebook is the Truckee, California Highway Patrol Facebook page, and they have a great sense of humor. So whoever's putting stuff up for them has a great sense of humor and shares a lot of funny stuff. And then they share a lot of informative, helpful stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's a great one to watch this time of year because going over Donner Summit, Highway 80, and all of that area, that's their domain, and they've got a lot to share of what's happening up on the mountain there during the winter. So, hey, Trooper Dial, thanks for coming in. I'm sorry we cut you short, but we'll get you back on the show this month. I think November we got some time to bring you back in, and we'll open with you now that we're caught up. We're good. We're good
All right.
on our end. Okay.
Thanks, JT.
All right. Listen, hey, if we don't see each other or talk before Thanksgiving, let me be the first to say happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your family.
Same to you, man. Same to
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Take care now.
All right.
All right, everybody. Trooper Monty Dial, longtime friend of 10-4 Magazine, part of the old blue team that used to show up in a lot of different truck shows around the country. And back in those days, he was in uniform. He was on duty. He was still in service. Still in service. I like that. Great guy, great wealth of knowledge. Again, you guys listening still here with us now, and those on the playback, get questions, write them down. If you got your cell phone that you can, write stuff down. I do it all the time. You can talk to it and it'll write it up for you. If you have any questions anytime, in fact, don't hesitate to send them over to us. We'll forward them to Trooper Dial so he can answer them on the show next time we get them on. Love to have you guys do that. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Valley Chrome for today. Appreciate you guys. As always, another longtime marketing partner of 10-4 Magazine and Studio 10-4 Live. We appreciate them. And of course, supporters of the 10-4 Trucker Rodeo and Show and Trucking for Kids. So we appreciate and love our partnerships that we have with our marketing partners. And we're always looking for more of you out there. If anybody's interested, certainly contact me and I will get you taken care of. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Rich, thanks for showing up. Mike, saw you in there, buddy. Mike Viviano, Pat, thank you for being a vendor at that's Pat Gerber for being a vendor at 10-4 Trucker Rodeo. Appreciate that, man. Kevin, JT, everybody, Jody, all the folks that left earlier, had to go do stuff. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next week. And everybody, I hope you all are getting ready for Thanksgiving. We'd love to have our show for Thanksgiving. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there was something coming up. Anyway, I'll talk to you about that shortly. But Thanksgiving this year is the last week of the month, and the Wednesday before, we'll definitely get a Studio 10-4 Live Thanksgiving show out there for everybody, so you can get a minute just to relax before it gets crazy, or while you're in the kitchen cooking and getting stuff ready for Thursday. And I love doing Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays, as well as Christmas. But let's take them one at a time, okay? Let's enjoy the Thanksgiving season, and then we'll migrate off into the Christmas season, man. All right, y'all, take care. We love you. Take a breath if you're feeling a little angst here from what's been going on in our country. I think all of us need to do that. My message, as always, is we are all Americans. Let's focus on being Americans. My fellow American, my brother American, my sister American. That's who we are, folks, okay? We don't all agree. We don't all get along. Fact of life, that's just people. But we can all be Americans together. And let's not have it take a crisis to bring us together to decide that fact for us. I've seen too many people that just check out because it didn't go their way. And oh boys, the generation of everybody gets a trophy, everybody gets a ribbon. Those are all the kids in college now that needed to have a day off after the election and have cake and cookies and crackers and have a safe space and quiet time. I mean, come on, folks. it was an election. Your mom didn't die, your dad didn't die. It wasn't like that. We're still here. Let's make this work. Let's move on, man. Together as one. All right, y'all. Take good care of yourselves. Keep the shiny side up as always. We'll see you next week.